Hey, Trucker Todd here, and time for another video. This one, like the others, if you're a channel member, you're going to be seeing this video on Wednesday. If you're not a channel member, you're probably going to be seeing it on Friday. So since the majority of you will be seeing it on Friday, I'm just going to go ahead and say Friday is normally people's payday. And the number one question I've been getting lately is, how much can you make at RE Garrison? And I've been getting a few other random questions, but all in all, that's the number one question. So in this video, I'm going to try to help you answer that question. But I got to warn you, kind of a spoiler alert, I'm probably going to upset some of you, and that's okay. Just kind of understand I've got good intentions here. But before that, show me that you got good intentions. Give this video a thumbs up. Share it on your social media platforms, and while you're at it, subscribe and click that bell and select all so that you receive notifications when future videos come out. I'm going to go ahead and cue up the music, and then I'm going to read you an email I got this week. I'm not going to say his name or nothing, and then I'm going to answer your burning questions. All right, here we go.
And this is why I do this, why I'm out here, why I keep that hammer down. Flying by these road signs with home on my mind, with these wheels turning round. For my family and for my kids, for this life I wanna live. And this is why I do this.
Alrighty, we're back. Let's jump right into this email, and then we'll answer his questions along the way. Hey Todd, hope all is well with you. I've been watching your videos. I just wanted to see how things are going at RE Garrison. Like, I know you didn't want to get into pay and such on your channel, but I was wondering how your settlements have been, and do all the trucks have larger refrigerators? Yes, I can go ahead and answer that one right now. It depends on the truck, and I may be off a little bit here, but I believe 2022 and newer, they have the apartment size refrigerators with a very large freezer that come up to about your hips. If you have one that's 2022 or earlier, they have the factory Freightliner refrigerator. They told us that Freightliner quit offering them after, I believe it was 2022, and that's when they started putting these aftermarket ones in here. I've got one of the aftermarket ones because mine is a 2024. It works great. The doors stay closed. The frozen stuff stays frozen. The refrigerated stuff stays refrigerated. So I'm very content with it. There's still enough room on top of it between it and that cabinet, that upper cabinet on a Freightliner, that my Xbox and Atari fit there, and the internet box and things like that. So yes, they do. If you get a newer than, I believe it's 2022, you get a larger refrigerator. I'm told they can put larger refrigerators in the older truck, but I'll be quite honest with you, I think it's a little expensive, and I personally would not do it. I don't know the exact price, so I'm not going to quote a price on here, but the rumors I've heard, what people have told me, it costs to get it upgraded to the larger refrigerator. I personally wouldn't do it. If that's something that's a big deal to you, then I would just go ahead and get a truck that already had it in there. All right, back to his email. And do they sell mattresses for the truck? Yep, they have. I'm told they have 3 mattress choices now. They have the prison mat that they'll give you for free. That's what I call it. That's not really what it is. It's the thinner kind of stock mattress. They have a, and again, verify this when you get here or with your recruiter. Don't take my word for it. They have one that's around $120. It's got springs in it. It's still memory foam from what I'm told. I have not seen it, and it's around $120. They did not have that one when I was at orientation. I believe it's a new addition. And the one I have now is the $375 one. I believe it's 12 or 14 inches memory foam mattress. Pretty comfortable. Over time it gets a little softer than what I'd like. So if I had it to do over again and it was available, I'd probably get that mid-level one with the springs in it for $120. Right now I'm looking at options for putting some type of topper on it or something to make it just a little firmer. All right, now that we got that question out of the way, what is the cost of the legacy seat upgrades? Again, when we get into specifics, I'd rather you talk to the shop because things like that can change. But from what I understand, the legacy seats are around $1,500. They are the base model legacy seats. Me personally, I probably wouldn't get them at the terminal. I'm looking at some other options now. I want a little bit fancier seat if I'm going to spend that kind of money. And so I'm going to be looking at a few different Freightliner dealerships. And then I'll end up doing a video about whatever I select and showing it to you. All right, next on the list, and we'll get to the money here in a minute. What is the fixed cost on the truck, and is it tough to stay out of the hole? Going home, I usually stay out a month and take 4 or 5 days home. Be safe out there. I'm just considering the company. All right, I appreciate that email. Let's take a look at that. Now, the first thing I want to say is the fixed cost, and this is the last question I'll answer on this before it gets kind of mean, and I'm going to apologize in advance. Your fixed costs are going to be different on pretty much every single truck here. Why? Because insurance is based on the value of the truck, the year of the truck. Different trucks are going to have different payoffs. They're going to have different balloon payments. They're going to have different lease completion bonuses. Everything is different truck to truck. And there's going to be pros and cons to both. I could make a video about that, but basically the short of it would be, if you get a new truck, in theory, you're going to break, or a newer, they don't have brand new. If you get a newer truck, theoretically, you're going to break down less, but your payments are going to be higher. If you get an older truck, your payments are going to be cheaper, but you're probably going to be spending more time in the shop. Not always true, but that's just a general rule. Typically, what'll break you, and what has broke me the past 5 years, is not the repair itself, but it's the downtime. Downtime will eat you alive. And so I wanted to get the newest truck I could get with the lowest miles I could get with the most remaining warranty I could get. Now, as for warranties, warranties are just as good as the paper they're written on. Some are better than others. Also, while we're talking about fixed cost, I have several, and RE Garrison offers a ton of benefits that you're eligible for, but they're going to be fixed cost. It's going to affect your take-home pay. I've got dental, I've got vision, I've got their TVC legal deal. I'm considering their health insurance. So obviously, if you didn't take none of those things, I've got their life insurance. If you didn't take none of those things, your paycheck should be bigger than mine. But you're going to pay for it one way or another. You're going to pay for it to a health care provider. You're going to pay through your own health plan or whatever. So it's kind of hard for me to give you numbers because your situation's going to be different than mine. I haven't found it horribly difficult to stay out of the hole. You know, everybody every once in a while is going to be in the hole, and that's why you need to have a nest egg and be prepared, because you're going to have a trip that doesn't deliver in time, or you were in the shop for the week, or you went home. I fully anticipate being in the hole around Christmas time because of medical stuff. I'm going to be off for about a week, and so you plan for those things so that they don't hurt so bad when they come. Now, they still hurt, but you can lessen the pain a little bit. Now, let's get to the question everybody wants to know. How much can you make at RE Garrison? I mean, come on, Todd. It's only 70%. And, man, your truck payment's high. You're paying for reefer fuel. You're paying for washouts. How can you possibly make money there? Well, let's talk about it. First of all, It's not 70%. It is, but it isn't. On top of that 70%, you get a fuel surcharge, which I had a trip offered to me the other day. I believe it was yesterday. I ended up not being able to do. But the fuel surcharge worked out to about 50 cents a mile. A lot of you guys are getting them for 40 cents a mile, and even more of you aren't getting any fuel surcharge at all. So when you add that 50 cents back in there, it makes a big difference to that 70%. And so it brings up our next question. 70% of what? 70% of the line haul. There are companies right now that are giving you 70% of whatever they think market value is, not what they're taking in. And there's a big difference there. They call it market value, and there's a large mega carrier doing that right now. 70%, and most of the time my 70% ends up being between $2 and $2.20 a mile. That's after Garrison takes their 30%. That's just my 70 plus the fuel surcharge. So you're really getting a lot more than 70% when it comes in. Now we're getting into the question that if you're asking this question, you're probably not ready. And I know that's mean for me to say, but if you don't understand this next concept I'm about to tell you, you're not ready. Don't do it. You need to do more research. You need to ask more questions. How much can I make, Todd? Oh boy, that is an impossible question to answer. Since it is 70% a line haul, it changes daily. You could do a load from, I'm in Coleman, Alabama right now. I could do a load right now from Coleman, Alabama to Oklahoma City, and it could pay a certain rate. I could do it a week from now and it could pay an entirely different rate, maybe more, maybe less. Also, it's impossible for me to tell you because I don't know how you're going to buy your fuel. I don't know what part of the country you're going to run. If you're running the Northeast and doing a lot of tolls, you may get a better rate, but you're going to pay it out in tolls. So that's a tough question to answer. Well, Todd, just give me a general idea. All right, you could go anywhere from losing your tail and losing everything you own to about $3,000 a week. A lot of weeks you're going to be in that $2,000 to $3,000 range. A lot of weeks you're going to be in that 12 to 2 range. It really depends on where you're running, what you're hauling, what the freight rates are that week. Now, if you look online, if you look at all these YouTube channels, they're talking spot market. We're not doing spot market. We're contract freight. I hadn't pulled a broker load since I've been here. It's all been contract freight. Contract freight typically pays better than spot market freight. Also, something else to consider. When I was comparing numbers in my other video, the numbers I talked about here are with Garrison taking 8% out for maintenance. At the other place, when I was running the spot market, that was before anything come out for maintenance. So I'm definitely making more money now, and I'm not spending 4 or 5 hours a day on the load board. I'm also not having to pay for a load board. They're dispatching me, and they don't freak out if you turn down a load. I wouldn't recommend doing it on a regular basis just to be a butthole, but if you've got a legitimate reason, turn one down. I turned one down yesterday because I was needing to get to the Coleman yard, and it was not going to get me to the Coleman yard. I explained it to them. They agreed with me. They took it off of me. No harm, no foul. I've had really good communication here. I've got a great dispatcher, and I've talked about this in other videos too. You know, to be successful, it's like a three-legged stool. One of those legs is you need to have good equipment, and I've got a really good truck here at RE Garrison. In the past, that's what's got me. I thought I had good equipment, but I didn't have anybody to stand behind me, which brings me into point 2. You've got to have good dispatch, and I've got that here. I've got great dispatch, and that makes a big difference as well. And the final thing is you've got to have knowledge, and this is something that only you can know. Do you know how to buy fuel? Do you know what parts of the country to run, what parts of the country not to run? Do you understand freight lanes and freight markets? It's not the end of the world if you don't. It's something you can learn, but it's something that you definitely need to learn. Now, can you be successful if you don't have one of those things? Yeah. But it's going to be easier to be successful, and you're going to be more successful if you have those three things. So that's the reason I don't give out my numbers, because your numbers are not going to be mine. I've got a buddy right now that's currently outperforming me here. And I've got another buddy out here right now that says he makes less than me. And so I like to think I'm middle of the road average. My dispatcher told me that I do very, very well. And so I can tell you that I'm happy, my family's happy, and I'm having a good time right now. Could that change? Sure. Could it get better? Absolutely, probably will. Could it get worse? Definitely. So you have to go into this, and it doesn't matter if you're starting here or if you're going somewhere else. There's a chance you could fail. There's a good chance you could fail. Even as a company driver, there's a good chance you could fail. Well, how, Todd? Okay, look at it like this. Most leases at most of these companies are 3 to 4 years. Most drivers don't stay at any company 3 to 4 years. Company driver or lease purchase. So there's a chance you could fail. There's a chance things could change. You could move. You could get a better opportunity. And that's why these walkaway leases are the way to go if you're going to lease a truck. I still think buying is the best, but I needed a company after the whirlwind few years I've had lately that could stand behind me, and so far RE Garrison has stood behind me. They've treated me fairly, and I don't have anything bad to say about them. But you know, it's easy to get on here, and there's a lot of YouTubers do it, let's be honest. They talk trash and, oh, you're gonna fail, that's horrible. Well, how many companies have they been at for 4 years or longer? And the truth is, most drivers haven't. I think the average company driver, or the average driver, stays at a company 6 to 10 months. And you say, well, Todd, I've been at my company longer than that. Yeah, you have, but there's guys that walk out of orientation. So that's figured into that number. There's a lot of guys here at Garrison's been here 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So that's figured into the equation. Remember, averages are top of the bottom and bottom of the top. And so it's just one of those deals. It's impossible to answer on a percentage contract how much you're going to make, especially when I don't know what truck you're going to pick. I don't know your fixed expenses, but I'm going to tell you that most of the time I think you can make between $1,500 and $2,500 a week. Are there times you're going to make more? Probably. Are there times you're going to make less? Absolutely. And so the best thing you can do is just save and be as prepared as you can be. Brings up the final question I want to answer. How much money should I have saved? This one's the easiest question. As much as you can. At one point I've shared with y'all I had $26,000 in the bank and blew through that in maintenance in a second. So that's why RE Garrison's great. I love the way they do their maintenance program. And I love the way they stand behind and support their drivers. I love the way that dispatch works with me and treats me and communicates with me. And so at this point, that's all I got to say. And going back to his first question in this email about he just wanted to see how things are going at RE Garrison, I'm really happy. So they're going great. Now, they're keeping me busy, and that's why you're not seeing a lot of videos. They're working the dog out of me, but I'm having fun and I'm enjoying it. And I've gone home a few times. I've never had a problem getting home when I put it in a request. Some of that is I've got a good dispatcher. I think most of the dispatchers are good here. I haven't heard the names of any specific bad ones. There is one terminal here I don't care for. They're not people, in my opinion, are not very professional, and so I avoid that terminal. But for the most part, it's been a great experience, and I've really enjoyed working here. And I've appreciated all of you that stuck to the end of this video. Y'all take care, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.